What's going on, gamers? Zav here, and there was a really big, exciting announcement for all you Aion players out there today, and that is that the release date for Aion Classic is June 23rd. That is only 2 weeks away, and it feels like it was maybe only 1 to 2 weeks ago that they even just teased the idea that Aion Classic was coming to the Western market, and lo and behold, here we are. It's on the way. And so this is a really exciting thing. It's coming a lot sooner than I think people were expecting. And it's right in the middle of a bunch of other MMO content releasing. Phantasy Star Online New Genesis just came out. Solo is expected to release at the start of July. So they are sliding in right between two other MMOs release windows, trying to fight their way into the market this summer with all the other games that are, coming out or having expansions. So this is a really exciting thing for the Aion player base that wanted to have this experience again. I gotta say, for those of you that played Aion heavily back then, you know, I think Classic WoW proved for the most part that you cannot recapture that same feeling of the game that you had back then. And so as long as you go into Aion Classic knowing that, have a fantastic time with it. Enjoy it. Just, curb that expectation a little bit that it's not going to be a one-to-one replication of what you experienced, over a decade ago. Um, we talked to some people who had played on the classic version in Korea, and they said that a lot of the bugs do still exist from that time period of the game. However, there were some very critical game-breaking exploits that have been fixed since then and will not be present, which is very important, obviously. But I think, for me personally, I was never really big into Aion back then. I was, for the most part, very invested into classic WoW, or vanilla WoW, I should say. Pardon me. And, I never really got the chance to spend a lot of time in Aion. And so for me, this is actually like a fresh experience. This would be a very fresh experience for me with Aion. And so I'm excited for it in that regard. But for a lot of others, hey, I think WoW really proved that, some of these things, they're not going to be the way you remember it. Just understand that, take it as what it is, and have fun with it, right? That's the best thing you can do with it. Now, that being said, it right away from Aion themselves have told in a newsletter here that, it's not the exact same product from that time period either. So let's go over this and we'll talk about those details. So Aion Classic is a server which has been restored to the original contents of the Aion game that began in 2009. It is going to function on a separate server dedicated from the live servers, and it's going to be as a ongoing server rather than like a special type of event. The content of Aion Classic we are introducing is based on the original 1.0 update. Okay, so the 1.0 update is going to be all that 1.0 content, level 50, the PvE content, Rift and Fortress battles for PvP. But this is where, it's not going to be a one-to-one replication of what you experienced back then. It's going to be a little bit of a different experience. They have adjusted the XP for leveling. So leveling is not as bad as it was back then. They say right here that they, adjusted it so that getting to the highest level can be reached in a shorter amount of time than it was back then. Also, it is the client version of 2.7. So the content is 1.0, but the actual build of the game is 2.7. So there's going to be a much more balanced and optimized version of the classes. And an example that they give is remove shock skills and the two-handed weapon integration system that allow altered state escape to be applied. So those things have been put in. And so there are, other things like that. So if you know the difference between 1.0 and 2.7, you can take that into account going into this, that it is a 2.7 build. Now, in terms of the monetization, the game is going to be free to play. However, it will have an optional sub. Optional. The sub does give XP boost, loot drop boost. and a couple other things. So, that is obviously very valuable, particularly the loot drop boost and the XP boost is always nice, especially in a game that was as grindy as Aion was for people. But one thing that they are doing that is very nice is that for free-to-play players, the first hour of every day that you log on, they are giving you a free hour of the subscription status buffs. I think this is called Seal's Aura. So the Seal Aura effect, you get that for 1 hour for free every day. So if you are a very casual player who maybe only plays 1 to 2 hours a day, maybe you don't need the subscription. But if you're somebody who's playing 5, 6, 7 hours a day, really you're playing this game a lot, the subscription's going to be worth it. You're going to want it. It's going to provide some really nice benefits, particularly loot drop. However, when it comes to the cash shop, the Aion Classic item components will also be prepared as they were for Korea. So we're going to get the same cash shop that Korea has. They state that BMs that affect combat balancing will not be sold, so a fair PvP environment can be enjoyed. Korea is currently only selling decoration items, form candy, pets, and other change tickets. And the West will sell the same thing. So we'll see how long that holds up. But overall, I think for a free-to-play game, an optional sub is a pretty typical thing, unfortunately. But and it usually comes with benefits. But they do also have special pre-order packages. I'm sure there will be many of you pre-ordering it. And yeah, so that's what it is. Typical $15 a month. The game goes live on June 23rd, 2021. It's right around the corner. So definitely keep up to date with all that. Be sure to go follow their Twitter. And on to the next thing. There was more news today. There was so much news today. Elyon announced that on a live stream tomorrow, so that means that this video content we're recording right now will be outdated within 24 hours. So stay tuned because we're going to do a specific Elyon video talking about what they talk about on stream tomorrow, which is going to be CBT2 information for Elyon. But, there's a lot of things we have to talk about with Elyon. The game is not doing well in Korea. They've been making some really questionable changes. They've definitely gone a much more swiping pay-to-win route in Korea. And some of these design changes cater to that as well. And so these are things that the, Western player base needs to take into account when we get the cash shop on CBT2. And there are things that we are going to need to be very vocal about. And so I'm going to do a whole video covering that. But so Elyon, they announced live stream tomorrow. They are going to talk about some CBT2 information, which is what people have been waiting for. So that's really exciting. A lot of stuff all happening today. So, keep an eye out for our Elyon specific video. And then Lost Ark they announced a huge update that is coming to Korea. And it's going to have what they are declaring as their best raid ever. The creative director has stated that he wants this raid to go down in MMORPG history in terms of cinematic and battle design. And well, the last bit of PvE content that's been releasing in the Lost Ark has only been getting better and been really awesome. So really excited to see what they hold with that. Now, you're saying, well, yeah, but this is Lost Ark. We don't have it in North America and EU. I got you. Hopefully tomorrow, again, another thing, E3. So this could very well be an outdated topic as well. Hopefully Amazon will announce something regarding Lost Ark in the West. However, not holding my breath. I personally fear that they aren't going to say anything about it until, they get New World out. But I would love to be proven wrong. Amazon, please prove me wrong. And, I would really look forward to some Lost Ark announcement. They are, slated to release it this year. So, they could publish it in December and announce it in like October. So, they have a lot of wiggle room, unfortunately, still with it. So it would just be really nice to know a time window, that kind of thing. But, yeah, crazy year for MMOs, everyone. Crazy year for MMOs, really exciting stuff. PSO2 just released, now Aion Classic coming in here in June. Then we've got Sword of Legends Online in the summer, most likely at the start of July. And then, you know, we have a few other existing MMOs with expansions that are coming out. You know, we got Guild Wars 2 with End of Dragons. That's really exciting. That means new skill sets and things like that. And then the Final Fantasy 14 Endwalkers expansion, which a lot of people are excited about. So really big, exciting stuff. It's a great, great time to be an MMO player. You got your pick of the litter right now this summer. All right. And then there's more MMOs coming in the future that are being developed. So keep your eyes peeled for it. We're going to be covering content, hopefully a lot more frequently. And yeah, be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and we will catch you another time. Take it easy.